there, warm welcome. You're watching the Blueprint Explosive Exclusive with me, MEGHNA DEKA. Well, today we are going to get you the visuals of two men in Canada, which has stirred a massive, not just a regular storm, but this time around a political storm. This is the story of Justin Trudeau when he met none other than Diljit Dosanjh. Well, that's right. The Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau paid a surprise visit to the Indian music sensation Diljit Dosanjh. Those are the visuals of the two men there. But why has this led to a massive political storm over the Khalistani separatist movement? Well, we're going to get you the details of that. In fact, ahead of his historic sold-out concert of Diljit Dosanjh, which was at the Rogers Stadium in Toronto, this is what had happened. Both of them were seen greeting each other with hugs and big smiles. Those are the pictures that you can see on your screens of the Canadian Prime Minister with Diljit Dosanjh. Now, that is what was supposed to be a concert photo opportunity. It took, however, political overturns. This after the Canadian Prime Minister tweeted about his stopover for Diljit Dosanjh in his tweet. And this is where Justin Trudeau had said, I'm going to quote him here, he's put it out there, that Canada is a great country where one guy from Punjab can make history and sell out stadiums. Diversity isn't just our strength, it is our superpower. So did you mention and see the wordplay in there? One guy from Punjab. Remember, he's not just a guy from Punjab, he's a superstar from India. But he specifically decided to call him a guy from Punjab. Why? Well, given Justin Trudeau's history, his guy from Punjab mention was, of course, immediately branded as a deliberate mischief by the BJP leaders as well as netizens. In fact, BJP leader Manjinder Singh Sirsa had stressed on Diljit Dosanjh's Indian identity to make this point. He said that Trudeau's gesture of lauding a fantastic artist such as Diljit Dosanjh has been totally overshadowed by his deliberate mischief through this wordplay, where calling Diljit Dosanjh a Punjabi, a man from Punjab, instead of an Indian, goes to show the appeasement and the outreach that Trudeau seems to be making, as per the BJP, to the Punjabi populace, which is there in Canada.
मुझे लगता है एक प्रधानमंत्री को ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए। प्रधानमंत्री पद की बहुत बड़ी गरिमा होती है, उस गरिमा को उनको संभालना चाहिए था, उस गरिमा के मुताबिक उनको ट्वीट करना चाहिए था। मैं फिर कहना चाहता हूं, प्रधानमंत्री जस्टिन ट्रूडो ने बहुत अच्छा काम किया, मैं दिलजीत दोसांझ को भी बधाई देता हूं, लेकिन उस काम के बाद जो ट्वीट किया है वो उनके उस काम को आईना दिखाता है, उसके विपरीत है और उनकी ये सोच अच्छी सोच नहीं है।
So was Justin Trudeau's guy from Punjab mention, was it mischievous, or did Justin Trudeau try to use India's pride, Diljit Dosanjh, for his shallow and divisive political agenda in Canada? That's the question. While the BJP says that the wordplay in Trudeau's phrase reeks of mischief and appeasement politics to even outliers such as the Khalistani sympathizers, leaders of the Akali Dal and the Congress hold a contrarian viewpoint. Sample their reactions coming in.
जस्टिन ट्रूडो कल मिले दलजीत दोसांझ से और उन्होंने कहा पंजाब के लड़के का स्वागत है कनाडा में। इस पर मनजिंदर सिंह सिरसा ने आपत्ति उठाई। उन्होंने कहा कि पंजाब की जगह उन्होंने जानबूझकर इंडिया की जगह पंजाब का नाम लिया।
देखिए, जो पंजाब के लोगों का सम्मान होता है विदेशों में, उसको तो खुशी होनी चाहिए सरसा जी को, उसको इस पे आपत्ति नहीं होनी चाहिए।
आपको लगता है कि ये कोई शरारत नहीं?
नहीं, ऐसी आपत्ति नहीं होनी चाहिए। पंजाब को हम गौरव होना चाहिए, पंजाब की बात हो रही है अगर।
कनाडा में दिलजीत दोसांझ के परफॉर्मेंस को लेकर के जस्टिन ट्रूडो का ट्वीट और उसके ऊपर भारतीय जनता पार्टी के प्रवक्ता का जो वक्तव्य आया है, उसे मैं खिसियानी बिल्ली खंबा नुचे इस तरह से देखता हूं। हालांकि जस्टिन ट्रूडो के सभी विचारों से मैं सहमत नहीं रहता हूं, लेकिन यहां पर जहां उन्होंने पंजाब लिखा है, तो मैं बीजेपी के प्रवक्ता को ये बताना चाहूंगा कि राई का पहाड़ मत बनाने की कोशिश करिए। पंजाब भी हिंदुस्तान का हिस्सा है, इंडिया का हिस्सा है, ये आपको समझना चाहिए।
So here's why questions are now being raised over Justin Trudeau's guy from Punjab reference for Indian singer Diljit Dosanjh. In the garb of saving freedom of speech, Trudeau has always given a long rope to anti-India and pro-Khalistani elements, remember, on Canadian soil. In fact, let's break it down for you, all the instances graphically as well, which are going to show how he's waged a diplomatic war with India for Khalistani terrorists. Of course, the first one which tops this thing is none other than that of Nijar, Hardeep Singh Nijar. He allowed the celebration of the assassination of former Indian Prime Minister who was assassinated, Indira Gandhi, as well. This happened in the towns of Canada. He is yet to provide any justice to the victims of the 1985 Kanishka bombing that was orchestrated by the Khalistani forces in Canada. In fact, he also turned a blind eye to the violent attacks that we have seen by pro-Khalistani forces on the Indian High Commission in Canada as well. In fact, not too long ago, he also addressed an event amid loud pro-Khalistani chants. The Canadian Parliament also, ironically, observed silence for the Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijar after his assassination. And in the garb of free speech, he has always given a free pass to the Khalistan referendum, the K referendum as they called it in Canada. It was held earlier as well, which is why I'm going to put a perspective into all of this. In fact, let me go across to our panelists. Joining us today on the show, Daniel Boardman. He is a Canadian journalist. He's very well versed with the Canadian politics and what could be one of the reasons as to why we have a very symbolic photo opportunity such as this, which may be exploited as a political stunt by none other than the Canadian Prime Minister. Daniel, welcome to Times Now. Do you have any doubt in your mind that the Canadian Prime Minister may have tried to use the fame and the stardom of someone like Diljit Dosanjh and try and use it to reach out to those elements whom, in the name of freedom of expression, of course, that he's been reaching out to, even Khalistanis in this case?
So there's a few things to parse out here. First, thank you for having me. And if you want to look at it, so there's a general question here of, is Justin Trudeau sympathetic to the Khalistani movement? And the answer to that is clearly yes. Okay. Then there's a question of, in this particular instance, is this an instance of Justin Trudeau offering overtures to the Khalistanis deliberately? And as someone who's lived in Canada my entire life, I do speak Justin Trudeau fluently. And this seems like more general, vapid nonsense. And the reason why, again, I've heard Trudeau speak for years. The reason why he would switch India to Punjab, you could say one is to foment Punjabi separatism or the Khalistani movement and really, give it to his base there. The other thing here is Trudeau just does love speaking general diversity nonsense. Anything that he can say as diverse or LGBTQ plus or green or any of these generic left-wing modern modifiers he'll use. So when you say if a man from India could make it here, he can make it anywhere. That sounds a bit ridiculous. People hearing that would go, no, there's a lot of famous Indians that I know. And there's, right? I mean, infamously, like one of the richest men in the world, his son just had a wedding in India, right? So he didn't need Canada to make it there. You can make it in India. So saying Punjab makes it sound more ethnic to his people. And again, remember how diversity is our strength, is sort of Trudeau's empty-headed maxim, right? This is him taking it to the 11th. Diversity is our superpower now. This is a classic Trudeau. I'm going to double down on something idiotic I said, claim that I'm the most diverse. Because does he really need to strengthen his relations with the Khalistanis? I mean, it's already airtight. Is he really securing this particular voter base? He's down 20 points in the poll. Like, he's a dead man walking anyway. It's much more among his pathology to go, this guy is famous. I want to leverage my situation as prime minister to get a photo with a famous guy. And while I'm in a photo with a famous guy, if I can say nothing, if I could say empty words about diversity, LGBTQ, or green something, all the better. That's usually how his brain is working. So before he thinks Khalistan, I mean, if this was Jagmeet, I go, yes, this is a Khalistani thing, because the first thing on Jagmeet Singh's mind is Khalistan. Khalistan's like the 10th thing on Justin Trudeau's mind. It's usually, me, my international reputation, right? I want to look cool and suave. These are the higher priority things among the mind of Trudeau. But yes, he is sympathetic. Did maybe a staffer with Khalistani sympathies change India to Punjab? Maybe. Like, the odds that he writes his own tweets are low. But this strikes me as more just vapid nonsense.
But since you speak Justin Trudeau so very fluently, this diversity pitch that you are talking about, I absolutely agree with you. Justin Trudeau does try to capitalize on it. But here is the problem. In the name of diversity, in the name of inclusivity, he has in the past reached out and given a way longer rope than India has ever been comfortable with of those who have sympathies for Khalistan. And that is why it becomes a diplomatic row more than anything else that he may be desperate enough to prove for himself domestically.
Oh, I absolutely agree. Sometimes he stumbles into diplomatic fights with countries through sheer idiocy. Sometimes he stumbles into them through blind ideology. And listen, I understand why India is mad. Justin Trudeau is a very, very, very anti-free speech leader. Very anti-free speech. Canada, you can't even see the news on Facebook and Instagram because the government shut down news. They're constantly whining about criticism of politicians and the need to clamp down on free speech. Free speech applies to no one in Canada except for Khalistanis and Islamists and radical communists. It's far left and terrorist mobs. The more you hate Canada, free speech only applies to groups that are anti-Canadian in general. They get the biggest rope among Trudeau, and anyone else gets no rope. So, I mean, both of us find it quite gaslighting. Me as a journalist whose livelihood was hurt by all the Trudeau censorship laws, and our ability to do news online is severely hampered by Justin Trudeau's anti-free speech ideology. But if I was a Khalistani, again, whether I'm in Surrey or Brampton, I can create a float of the assassination of Indira Gandhi, bring my children, film it, and say I support political violence against these identified
silence in the parliament as well of Canada for Nijjar.
Yeah, it's absurd. A moment of silence for the Nijjar, a man who supported the Air India bombing and Parmar the mastermind, and then no moment of silence for the victims of the bombing. Again, it's the ideology of Justin Trudeau. Any ideology that hates Canada or our allies or undermines our society, i.e. Khalistan is one of them, free reign, maximum free speech, maximum support. Any ideology that is pro-Canadian values, wants to defend our civilization, no free speech for you, dangerous, slander, far right, all the different things are said. So, I mean, I get why India is mad, and I'm not saying there's a 0% possibility that this is a jab for Khalistan. I just think we both agree there's like a list of 100 other things Justin Trudeau has done worse than this particular incident. But this is just one of those, again, maybe it's a straw on the proverbial camel's back for a lot of people. They've just been beaten over with the Trudeau thing so long, and then it finally breaks. That might be something.
The fact that you've said that he's perhaps done far worse now. But then the reason, perhaps, just to contextualize it for anyone who may have forgotten, very few in India, however, have. But there are the likes of Goldie Brar, involved in 15+ criminal cases. Deportation has been requested. It has been blocked so far by the Canadian government. You have Lakbir Landa, who is a mastermind behind the RPG attack which had happened. Deportation requested, so far not cleared by Canada. There is Talla, there is Rinku Randhawa, there is Gurwant Singh Pannu, then there is Gurmeet Singh, you have Gurjinder Singh Pannu. Cases related to Terror and Arms Act. In some of these cases, deportation again have been requested but not yet cleared, which is why Justin Trudeau, in his quest to perhaps reach out to that little vote bank, which he thinks at least is rock solid with him even now, he may have endangered his diplomatic ties with India. And that always takes primacy than any one government coming to power. Diplomatic ties are built over centuries, over regimes.
Yeah, this is why a lot of Canadians are very mad. It's why I got very mad that he just burned down our diplomatic relations with India over Hardeep Singh Nijjar for no reason. I mean, listen, I have a friend who was murdered by a foreign international terrorist organization, Mehdi Amin. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps of Iran most likely murdered him in his home in Richmond Hill. No, nothing was done, and India is our ally. Iran's openly our enemy. The Islamic Republic of Iran says they want to destroy Western civilization, the Great Satan, Islamize the world, blah, 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 blah. There's decent evidence linking them to my friend's murder or assassination. Nothing was done about that. We didn't go to DEFCON 1 over him. But Hardeep Singh Nijjar, an active terrorist supporter, we go full bore for. Mehdi Amin, who spent his life fighting for Canadian values and against, Islamist terrorists, he's thrown away. Karima Baloch as well.
Absolutely.
But Hardeep Singh Nijjar gets a moment of silence.
But what happens from here onwards? Daniel, what do you see happening in the next few years in India-Canadian relationship? Because many are saying Trudeau really is losing support, not just amongst allies, amongst his own people.
Yes. So Trudeau's, again, 20 points down in the polls. Some polls, even you combine the Liberals and NDPs, can't get above the Conservatives. So October 2025 is the election. Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh seem to be locked into sort of a Faustian bargain to keep power among themselves for the next year. So the next year is going to be more of the same. It's going to be Khalistan. It's going to be spitting on India, taking jabs at India, undermining India, doing... It's going to be everything you've seen over the last year will be repeated over the next year. And then the Conservatives will get into government, and we will see how things go from there. I assume they will get better, but you can never guarantee things. There are people affiliated with the World Sikh Organization in the Conservative Party, less so than the Liberals and the NDP. But this is a great question. For the next year, it's going to be very bad. It's going to be more of the same. It's going to be more Trudeau. Expect more ridiculous gaslighting. Expect him to find more Indian celebrities and dance around like he did in India in an outfit that no Indian has worn in 50 years, and then say things that just want to make you pull your hair out. And then he'll go away. And then you'll have to deal with him at the United Nations.
Perhaps trying to politicize, giving a political spin to one of the greatest prides of India, Diljit Dosanjh, he perhaps didn't do himself any favors for that. But Daniel Boardman, thank you so much for being so very candid with us. Interesting to have your views on this. So Daniel at least feels that things may just be getting worse before it gets any better. We'll have to wait and see on that. The jury's still out. With that, a short break. Don't go anywhere.